And back again. So this is part 3. Today is Thursday night, 12 hours from start of the weekend. I'm just west of Balladonia, and which is a town in a building that is the western end of Australia's longest straight road, the 90 Mile Straight. Probably 500 k's into WA from the WA South Australian border. The sun's just gone down. Just having a regulation break, so I'll just quickly do this video. Hopefully I don't have to rush off like the video for the gift. But anyway, the purpose of this is part 3 of that gift, and I want to go into more how I received it. I gave in the last video I gave a mirror exercise to do. I haven't really had to do that for myself, and I want to sort of go into the reason why I didn't need to do that, and it coincides or goes back to an event that happened 6 years ago now. I made the decision to do a major life change. I was sort of gone through bankruptcy, come out of that, and my mate had been pestering me for a number of years to come and drive for him over in eastern states out of Victoria, and at the time I had both parents alive, and they were sort of getting close to their 80s at the time, so it sort of coincided a big shift with keeping an eye on them, but not something where I'm sort of a carer, because they were still quite independent, and in doing so I went and did an intensive with a gentleman by the name of Michael Rhodes. He's a metaphysics author and speaker, and travels the world speaking basically of his adventures and what he's found, and the applications of metaphysics into our reality, and enlightening those that have found him in a way that expands their reality, that it's just, there is a lot more than meets the eye. Now, like I say, I first come across Michael Rhodes probably a couple of years prior, searching on Facebook for metaphysics and who was there, and his name come up, and so I followed, and at the time I was sort of a devout atheist, and while I am still an atheist, the existence of a higher power, which is an essence of ourself, which I later learn. There was mention of the word God, so I sort of, unfollowed, as you do. It's not for me anyway. A friend of mine who is in that field of energetics and energy and metaphysics and all the rest of it had heard him speak and said, should go. blah, blah, blah. And I'd already was aware of his intensives from that prior episode. Anyway, yeah, made the decision and went. And that first intensive was a real eye-opener for me. And it sort of cemented what I knew, expanded on what I knew, and showed me that I knew nothing, all at the same time. And, you know, if you wish to follow or check up, there's been a book in the process, The Michael Rhodes Effect, which I've put an entry in after attending 5 intensives. And there was plans for a movie or a documentary like movie to be made at one of his intensives in Queensland. Now, I'm not sure if it was planned for this year or whatever, but the forces of evil that are lurking at the moment have put an end to that and a lot of other things. And a lot of his teachings would enlighten you to on all that. Anyway, getting back to my journey into that first intensive, and so I went into it, not much money, was just going to have enough to get by, pretty much. I flew into Melbourne, caught up with me mate, and the plan was to hitch a ride to Queensland, drive 2 up, whatever, jump out, have a few days in Brisbane. My brother lives up there, and I had a few friends, and then from there meet up with a friend coming up from Grafton, and we'd go up and do the intensive. But the universe had other plans. I must have needed some extra cash, because instead of hitching a ride, I took a truck from. I landed on the Friday or Saturday morning. Had to go shopping for some clothes and doonas and bits and pieces that I needed. Jumped in the truck sort of about lunchtime on the Saturday. I was in Brisbane for Monday, in Sydney for Tuesday, back in Brisbane for Wednesday, in time to get going and go to this intensive. So the first day started at 10 o'clock. I hadn't slept, or if I did, it was probably an hour or something, a half hour somewhere. And that was the most profound day. Being in a fatigued state and, you know, being awake for a number of hours is not foreign to me. But it allowed me to drop the ego. And on that day, sort of towards the end, one of the exercises was to create a ball of energy. You know, like a lot of those spiritual retreats they do, you know, guided meditations, or, you know, whatever they term it. Each one call it a different thing. And I was able to do the metaphysical, you know, not so much the outer body but I was able to create a ball of energy probably about the size of a large bowling ball, and it dissipated into the room. There's a few other things, but one of the things that I'd like to get to was probably about the third day for lunch. And in the first couple of days I'd sort of not conversed with many people, as being an introvert, does not mix well with others, like the gremlins in the water, shouldn't go together sort of thing. A bit standoffish, I suppose, although people you come up and introduce and all the rest of it, and you talk as you do. And at the time I didn't have the all this was gone. I was sort of clean shaven, wearing shorts as I do. I'm heavily tattooed on the legs, they're pretty much covered with ink. There'll be a video for another day. Too much light. Anyway, we were out having lunch, and I'd found a table and a seat, and Michael came and joined me, and nothing was said between us. Our souls connected, and I was enveloped in that energy of unconditional love. The aura, the etheric field expanded and enveloped me. And like I say, nothing was said, and that was his gift to me, although I didn't realise until just recently and thinking about it. Although that that action has always embedded itself on my mind, amongst other things. And the moment was disrupted by a young Australian female actor, who attended the retreat with a question, in which the moment was gone, and it anyway, so that afternoon there was one of the activities is where Michael and his wife Caroline go around the room and they spread their way of unconditional love. Now, I won't go too much into it, but it's pretty much the highlight of the 5 days of that intensive for those that have attended regular. For those that on their first occasion, a bit confronting, and whilst it was probably confronting for me, there was a few others where it was their first intensive, especially there was a Dutch man, basically the same age as me. It's not much, probably only a couple of weeks difference in age. He was attending with his wife, and friends of Michael and Caroline, and all in that circle. And there was moments there he really had trouble with it. Breaking out in cold sweats and all sorts of things. But 5 years later, it's not an issue. And for those of us, there was a number of us that have been sort of each intensive, and you can see on each year the changes in the people. Yeah. For some, it really didn't matter how much they took in. They never applied Michael's teachings to their everyday life. Or not everyday life, into their reality, where they should have. And as quite often, a few of the people I've kept in touch with, they come to you with a problem, or they have an issue, and you ask them, why didn't you do, or why haven't you done this, or a couple of the things that you were taught, and it's like it never crossed their mind at the time. But anyway, that's basically my introduction into the gift. Hopefully you've enjoyed this, or my part in it. It's one of those things where you a bit lost for words now. Anyway, I'm going to cut it off there, and if there's a part 4, or enough for a part 4, I'll go again. Anyway, I'll post this tomorrow when I start my weekend, and hopefully we'll chat again. See ya.